Welcome to the Lingua Loom, where words weave the fabric of time. Today, we journey into the early Victorian period, spanning from 1832 to 1848, an age of hope, reform, and awakening, when literature mirrored both the progress and problems of a changing world. Historical context. The early Victorian years opened with a sense of renewal. The Reform Bill of 1832 expanded voting rights, signaling the dawn of a new democratic spirit. England was becoming the world's industrial leader, with railways, factories, and machines reshaping everyday life. Yet behind this growth lay poverty, overcrowded cities, child labor, and moral anxiety. Writers began to ask, what is the cost of progress? This tension between hope and hardship became the very soul of early Victorian literature. Spirit of the early Victorian age. The early Victorian mind was optimistic yet cautious, believing that human reason, morality, and reform could improve society. It was an age of faith and progress, guided by Christian values and the ideal of moral responsibility. Literature reflected this balance between idealism and realism, between dreams of reform and the realities of industrial life. Literary features of the early Victorian period. Social realism. Writers portrayed poverty, injustice, and industrial suffering. Moral didacticism. Literature aimed to teach and inspire virtue and reform. Reformist zeal. A spirit of social change, against child labor, gender inequality, and class oppression. Religious faith. Christianity remained central, guiding moral tone and themes. Rise of the novel. The novel became the dominant form, realistic, moral, and socially aware. Major writers and works of the early Victorian period. The early Victorian period witnessed the birth of some of England's most beloved authors and characters. Charles Dickens, the voice of the common people. His works, Oliver Twist, exposed child labor and the dark side of London. The Pickwick Papers, celebrated humor and humanity. Nicholas Nickleby, attacked cruel schools and greed. Through laughter and tears, Dickens gave voice to the voiceless. Charlotte Brontë, with Jane Eyre, 1847, she created one of the most enduring heroines in literature, intelligent, moral, and fiercely independent. Her work reflects the struggle of women to define themselves in a male-dominated world. Emily Brontë, in Wuthering Heights, 1847, she broke every convention, exploring passion, revenge, and the wild darkness of the human soul. Elizabeth Gaskell, with novels like Mary Barton, 1848, she gave voice to the working class, portraying the harsh lives of industrial workers with empathy and realism. Alfred Lord Tennyson, the poetic heart of the early Victorian spirit. His early works like Poems, chiefly lyrical, 1830, and Locksley Hall, 1842, captured faith, melancholy, and the yearning for progress. Robert Browning, his dramatic monologues, like Porphyria's Lover and My Last Duchess, introduced psychological depth and moral complexity. Themes of the early Victorian period. Industrialization and social change. Literature revealed both the pride and pain of progress. Poverty and class divide. The gap between rich and poor became a moral concern. Women's roles. Female independence and identity began to emerge in fiction. Faith and morality. Religion and ethics guided human action and purpose. Childhood and innocence. Dickens and others used children to symbolize purity amidst corruption. Tone and style of the literature of the early Victorian period. The tone was sincere, moral, and reformist, but filled with emotional depth. Writers combined storytelling with social vision, showing that art could shape conscience. The early Victorian period was the heart's awakening, a time when literature believed it could heal the wounds of society. It was an age of moral strength and human sympathy, where stories were not just told, they were tools of transformation. Stay tuned for the next chapter, the mid-Victorian period, where faith begins to falter and realism deepens. Visit our website, follow us on Instagram. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share.